Welcome back to the Game of Descent, Journeys in the Dark, 2nd edition. It is now the Overlord's turn, but before we go ahead and begin with the Overlord's turn, I'd like to start our first showcase. What best way to start our showcase but with monsters? Since we are using a Goblin Archer for this campaign or quest, I'm going to go ahead and show you what the Goblin Archer looks like. Let's take a closer look. On the top we have the skills for the tan piece, speed of 5, health of 2, and 1 die when rolling for defense. Now he has this ability called Scamper. What is that? Well, the good thing about this game is that it lists the explanations of the abilities right on the card. We flip it over, we can see that the explanation or description of what Scamper is right on the Goblin Archer card. So what is Scamper? It says this monster may move through spaces containing heroes. So now we know what Scamper is. We don't have to go to the manual to look for it. We know that this guy can move through heroes. He also has an ability called Cowardly, and now we know that all we need to do is turn this card around and we can know exactly what that means. So Cowardly means that this monster cannot spend surges on abilities unless it is within 3 spaces of any master, monster, or lieutenant. Okay, so he is kind of a coward. No surges for him. Let's see what his surges do anyways. So we see that his surges give him +1 range and or +1 damage. And the dice that he rolls, blue and yellow. Now it's important to notice that that's the white figure of the Goblin Archer. The red figure is going to have different abilities. Before we move there, you can see that this monster has range attack because of the bow on the left side, and that it is an Act 1 monster. What that means is monsters and are divided in Act 1 and Act 2, just like the things that you can shop for. They're divided in Act 1 and Act 2. Alright, down to the Master Goblin Archer, we see that his abilities are a little bit different, so don't get confused. I mean, he is a Scamper, and we can flip over the card, and we've already done that, and we understand what Scamper is, but this one is not a coward. So just because the ability is listed on the card in the back, it doesn't mean that all the figures have it. You gotta make sure that you keep track of if it's a tan or monster and it has the ability or not. In this case, though, this is a Scamper, and the surges give him +2 range and +2 damage. Speed is 5, his health is 4, so they pump it up 2 for our master monster because the tan piece is only a health of 2. And he rolls only 1 defense die. So that's our Goblin Archer. The Overlord draws 1 more card. There is nothing to refresh, so we will go ahead and activate monsters. We're going to activate the goblins first. They need to get out of this dungeon as soon as possible. We're going to go ahead and use our dash card, which reads, play this card when activating a monster during your turn. That monster may perform an additional move action this turn in addition to its normal 2 actions. Our red Goblin Archer has a speed of 5. During this turn, it can double that, so it's going to be moving 10. It can also do 1 attack. The Goblin decides to attack first and then move his 10 speed. This Goblin is going to be attacking the adjacent hero, Cindrael. The monster rolls 3 damage. It has the range, which is only 1, and he's gotten a 5 on the blue die. Our hero defends with 1 gray or white die, but gets a 0 result. So this monster is going to be inflicting 3 damage. There are no surges that he can use, so 3 damage it is. Ouch. Now on to movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, in order to move through water, we need to spend 2 movement points instead of the usual 1. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This master monster is only 2 movement points away of leaving the dungeon and the Overlord getting the first fatigue. For our next Goblin Archer, guess what we have? The Overlord has another dash card, event card. So you remember this, it just says that we double, or we can add another speed to our regular 2 actions. So again, this monster is going to move 10 and it will attack one of the heroes. We're going to go ahead and start our movement. 1, 2, and now we'll go ahead and interrupt our movement so that we can attack this hero. Our goblin shoots but gets an X, which means it misses. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, onto the water, 8, 9. Now we need to stay there because although we have 1 movement left, we need 2 to cross over to the other water space. On to the last goblin. This goblin will move 5 and attack one of the heroes. In this game we have to move or use all of our goblin archers or monsters of one specific group first before we can move another group. So we need to move all the goblin archers first, and then we can finally get to play with the Ettin. So let's start moving. Let's move 5. 1, and he's going to go ahead and interrupt his move to attack Cindrael. This time he rolls 2 damage, and Cindrael has 1 armor on her defense die. Now he has a range that's only 1. He has 7 range. So this attack is going to inflict 1 damage on our hero. Cindrael is up to 4 damage now. We continue to move. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we can have our Ettin move and attack. And yes, you've guessed it, for our second showcase of the game, we're going to go ahead and show you what the Ettin actually does. So let's take a look. Remember, the piece that we have on the board right now is a tan piece, so it's this guy up here. He has a speed of 3, he has damage of 5, although remember the monster in our game has a health of 9, not just 5, because he's a special monster. And this guy rolls 2 dice for defense. He has the ability Reach, which is actually one of the abilities that we've already seen in the first edition of Descent, if you ever played that. And then his Surges will give him 2+ damage. So he rolls a blue and a red. Let's go ahead and look at that Reach ability for those of you that are not familiar with the first edition of Descent. So this ability reads, Reach. This monster may attack targets up to 2 spaces away. That means that even though the Ettin is a melee kind of monster and should only be able to attack adjacent heroes, with the Reach ability he can actually attack heroes that are 2 spaces away from him. So pretty handy. Now that we're here, let's go ahead and look at the master version of this monster. He rolls blue and red, just the same. He has the Reach ability, but he also has a Throw ability. And the Surge gives him +3. Let's look at his stats and then go look at that Throw ability, what it means. The speed is 3, the health is 8, so they pumped it up 3, and then he rolls again 2 dice for defense. Let's look at the Throw ability. This ability, you have to use it as an action, and then it says, remember, monsters get 2 actions, just like heroes during their turn. So throw, choose a hero adjacent to this monster. That hero must test, and what is that thing, huh? You're wondering? Okay, well that's might, and those are the attributes that the hero has. He has this listed in his hero card. So he has to test might, and if he fails, you remove the hero from the map, then place him on any empty space within 3 spaces of his original space. He counts as entering that space, and then that hero suffers 1 damage. Now we know what the Ettin can do during his turn and his stats and skills. But before we go over there, the Overlord is going crazy with cards. He's going to play the last card he's got on his hand, and that's a Frenzy. And the event reads, play this card when activating a monster during your turn. That monster may perform an additional attack action this turn in addition to its normal 2 actions. He moves 3. He's going to move 1 right here. And then I'm going to expand them. And the reason why I'm doing that is because if he's here, he's 2 away from this hero. And because he has the reach ability, he will be able to attack the monster. So we're going to place him there and roll for attack. The Etten rolls a blue and red, gets 3 damage. It's a melee attack, so we will ignore the range. But this hero rolled 3 armor, pretty good. That means that no damage gets through, which is not good for the monster. But he gets a second attack, so let's roll for that. Well, our Etten does much better this time around. He rolls 5 damage. Again, we will ignore the range. And Zendrel only rolled 1 armor shield on her defense die. So she's going to be getting 4 points of damage. There are no surges, so nothing to be used there. But this monster actually did pretty well. Our monster still has 2 movement points left. So he's going to move 1 and 2, kind of to protect that search token right there. And that's the end of the Overlord's turn.